Hey guys, and welcome back to the Leetcode grind. We're continuing our study of binary search, and today we have 1351 count negative numbers in a sorted matrix. I moved the matrix here with some values to make it easier. So essentially, we're given an n by n matrix grid, which is sorted in non-increasing order, both row-wise and column-wise. And we are to return the number of negative numbers in grid. It is a matrix, but if we break it down, we can process every row individually and find the first negative number. Once we find the first negative number, we know all the subsequent numbers will also be negative, and we can add its count. So let's run through this example here. So we'll run through each row. Actually, I think we can go in tandem. So first, let's grab the count of columns, just taking the length of the first row. And then we're going to accumulate our result count. Then we're going to process every row in grid, so one row at a time, and say, okay, we're also initializing a left and right pointer for the left and right bounds. And for this, it's the 0 and the length of columns -1 because we want its index. And we say, while those pointers do not cross, we want the midpoint. So if this is left and this is right, the midpoint will be 0 plus 3, integer halved. So that's 1. So that's left plus right. And then we say, okay, if the number we're currently on, the mid number, if that's a positive, what do we want to do? We want to count the number of negatives. So if that number is positive, we know we don't care for it. We want to just remove it from consideration. So we can move our left pointer past it. So if the row at that column is greater than or equal to 0, then that's positive. And we want to ignore. Okay, so we update left to be m plus 1. Now, what's the other condition? The other condition is that it's negative, but we want to continue the search because let's say we landed here, which is valid. Left initializes to the beginning, right initializes to the end. This is our first midpoint. Could this be our answer? It could, but we could have one before it. So we want to continue our search, and that is the reason why we update the right pointer to n minus 1 in order to continue our search. Once we break out of this loop, once these two pointers cross, we'll be at a position where we've been ignoring all positive, we've been optimizing for an earlier negative, so left will point to the first non-positive number because it's always moving past. Okay, and that is the beginning of the count. So to get the entire count, let's say we landed here, which is index 2, the count of the row, the count of columns in this row is 4. 4 minus the index is 2, and that's essentially what we want. So at the end of each while loop, we can add to our results our count minus where left ended up. And at the end of this entire for loop where we process every loop, then at the end we can return res. Let's give that a go and submit. And there we have it. All right, this was our fourth binary search problem. 1351, count negative numbers in a sorted matrix. Thanks so much. Happy coding. See you next time.